skip your homework, try not to play hooky too much. Once you qualify and you go to the boot camp, that's a cram session in the library with 17 different energy drinks for 23 hours in a row. And now's time to take the exam, my friends. Pass or fail. If you fail, you got to repeat the class next year. Nobody wants to do that. So we'll see if Rainbow7 can come out on top, going up against Unicorns of Love, who looked pretty damn good in their first couple of games here. Like I said during our previous game, their matchup against V3 was very convincing, but it got a little wacky towards the end, and their win versus PSG Talon was a very close game all the way through. But remember how PSG Talon really took everybody by surprise with how good they were?
Yes.
So Unicorns of Love being able to take them down is a really good sign. This team is looking strong. Let's see how they contend with Rainbow7 here, as Orianna, Shen, and Nidalee will all be banned away.
Yeah, it starts with the draft, because Unicorns of Love's wins are really based around their team fights, and consistently, conceptually, I feel like they've had the better compositions. The Swain bot lane, there's a reason why Orianna is banned. It's because it's flexible to Gadget and Nomanz. So the fact that Gadget is pulling bans here, Orianna is one pick that he had, the Swain was the other, and in solo queue, by the way, he's been spamming Karthus, just putting that out there. And he's already known for Heimerdinger, so you can't really ban him out.
Well, we'll see how they decide to go about doing it here. The Ashe that we got to see in the previous game, and we've seen in so much competitive League of Legends recently, is banned away this game. So no Ashe this time around. Feels like she's often picked when she's available, but hey, bans can solve a whole lot of problems. And speaking of problems,
get that champion out of here.
Razzleplasm. What kind of a champion can assassinate a lane bully one-on-one at like level 7, then scale into a team-fighting monster that can't die 1v3 and also gives all of his teammates 1,000 free gold? The kind of champion I don't want in my game. Ornn is out of there, not allowed in this game, and neither is Renekton.
He's a real GOAT. That's the problem. Greatest of all time. Get this champion out of here. It's disgusting in team fights, and you definitely don't want the team-fighting team Unicorns of Love having it, so... oh, that's an instant pick on the Camille.
Ooh, confident in the ability in the top lane there with the Camille. And Camille, I always like when we see her drafted into the top lane, because usually it ends up being a pretty fun matchup up there. A lot of times you get more exciting contests in the top lane when Camille is present, as opposed to just meatball versus meatball, who can get tankier type of a contest. So Camille versus Wukong could be very exciting, my friend.
Usually, this is a pretty great indicator on how Rainbow7 wants to play the game, because you would usually want the Camille versus Ornn pick if you're trying to play sides. But if you're trying to team fight, you definitely want the champion in there. And honestly, Camille can play both sides. I think this is probably a good hint that Rainbow7 wants to go for a Camille Galio comp. If you go Camille Galio, yeah, Ornn is a real problem. And so I think it's a good look here if they can nail it down for them. It's really simple, straightforward. And you're going up against a team that at times can be a little bit, even in chaotic team fights, I feel like they all understand their roles individually incredibly well.
Yep.
So they need to find something that they can rally behind.
Well, Senna's locked in for the side of Unicorns of Love. So you got two pretty big, powerful team fighting ultimates there with Wukong and Senna working together. And oh baby, Evelynn for the side of Rainbow7. This is such a heaven or hell champion. She's either the invisible champ, who's actually invisible in the game and has no presence whatsoever, or she's all over the map, always somehow on the proper flank, and just destroys everybody in half of a second, and you don't even understand how she's allowed to exist in the game. I love that sort of juxtaposition of which Evelynn you're going to get, and Josedeodo's got the confidence. He can be the kind to rule this game. Lucian also locked in here for Rainbow7. You were talking last game, Raz, about how you still really like this pick.
Yeah. Whenever you see an AP jungle picked pretty early on, especially Evelynn, I think Evelynn and Lucian are a really damn good mid-game combo, because you'd want to put Lucian on side lane and then just have the Evelynn just hover the champion, because who's going to actually match him? Even if you're in a 50-50 matchup, well, Evelyn's going to solve that right quick, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty damn good from Rainbow7 to say, hey, we already drafted the Camille. Now we're showing both sides of the top lane, the top side of the map, that we're just going to outright play side lane. I didn't initially buy into that fact. I thought that they could just go straight into a team fight composition with this one and go for a Camille Galio. But the fact that they're now going towards what is a really lane dominant Lucian pick, and then now wanting to play heavily towards Alone and Acce, I think if executed, a really strong thing to do.
That means what we're looking at for the bottom lane of Rainbow7 is a couple champions that can hang back, play safe, not get themselves killed while the team is split pushing and trying to facilitate moves elsewhere. And we'll see how the draft shapes up for that. Rainbow7 has decided to ban away the Graves themselves, looking towards those jungle bans. And I like the Ziggs ban here from Unicorns of Love. I'm talking about how the bottom lane needs to have wave clear, about how the bottom lane needs to be able to play it safe. Well, Ziggs fits that bill.
Yeah, and also even though the damage spread is okay from Rainbow7's side, they can do whatever they want. They can have a legitimate AD carry. They could have the Caitlyn is a good example of it, or they can just go straight AP. Wave clear right now is, I think, what Rainbow7 needs.
Yes.
If they're going to play a 1-3-1, their 3 mid lane needs to be able to hold a team fight or just a straight push from Unicorns of Love's side.
Lily is the last ban of the draft. That champion, honestly, still expecting to see her banned or picked every single game, so blue side taking care of it this time around. What will the pick be here? Nautilus locked in. So Nautilus and Senna, a lot of CC potential there. Either one of them manages to hit something, the other can follow up very, very easily, and also gives the team some additional engage potential besides just having Wukong.
In the end, even though I still want to see where Unicorns of Love are putting some of these pieces, I'm expecting it to be a Senna Nautilus bot lane with a Cassio mid, Wukong top lane, and by all means, just it would feel as though Unicorns of Love are just holding their jungle pick to see the full composition. Maybe it could mean like a Nocturne, just to see if, by all means, like if the composition doesn't have too much CC elements, then you can run a Nocturne in teamfights and match Evelynn on those side lanes. So that's something that would come to mind for me. But in the end of the day, Unicorns of Love has a great front-to-back team fight with the Cassio Miasma, allowing Senna to do damage. So we'll have to see how it plays out. Alistar could throw a wrench into that.
Yeah. Alistar, a strong champion for both engage and disengage. Ezreal picked up there for Leza. This champion is, if we're talking about staying alive, not getting caught out while 2 of your solo laners are split pushing the entire time, Ezreal's got a built-in flash on one of his basic abilities. Very easy to avoid some of the things that would kill a different champion. Yeah, baby, there we go. Now that's something that you can use to pick off enemies when you have a numbers advantage, my friend. If you want to catch an Ezreal, you can do a Skarner.
And if you want to catch that Evelynn in team fights, make her life living hell, snatch
It's
him.
so strong. It's
Blow
so
him
strong.
up.
I will tell you this right now. Evelynn also has no ability to contest Skarner in neutral territory without teammates nearby, as long as Skarner has the Spire. You can just run up to her, beat her up over and over again. As an assassin, her stat profile is incredibly low.
Yes.
And as a Juggernaut, Skarner's is the opposite of that. Skarner is in a spot where he'll be able to take over those neutral areas. Remember, the champion was changed recently, so his E no longer slows down when passing through units, gives him extra playmaking potential, especially early on in the game. Before Skarner has the ulti, the only CC is on the E, and now that you can fire that fracture through the minion wave and make it hit the enemy champion so much more reliably, you do have better early pressure on the I'm just so happy we get Skarner res.
We're getting it, Cap.
I'm so happy we get the Skarner.
This is for you, Cap.
I'm so happy we get the Skarner here. This should be a very fun game. Hope we get to see some playmaking out of him. But looking at both the teams and how the compositions stack up.
Don't spill that coffee.
I know. I'm being very careful. I'm animated. You know me, but I'm making sure that both of my drink, I got my energy drink, I got my water. They're both on the side of the desk, outside of yeet range. Nothing bad is going to happen to them. We're good. And looking at these two compositions, looking at these two teams, for Rainbow7, they really want to find a win here. This team is 1-2. This is the last game they're playing in the group stage. If they get a win here, they bring themselves up to even. They put themselves in a good spot to not be the team that just gets kicked out, right? You try to avoid some of those lower tiebreakers. But man, if this team loses here and goes to 1-3, that is a scary proposition.
Yeah, tiebreaker situations are real here. Especially you talked about Rainbow7. It's insane. This is what you've built your entire year for. We always talk about getting the Worlds. There was the initial worry about, is Worlds even going to happen because of the pandemic? All of these concerns came through, but people had faith. That's what they were playing scrim after scrim, day after day for. And then you get to this position, you have to make it work. This is what it's all for.
Always.
And so for Rainbow7, they've, put in some lessons, studied a little bit from the previous games, going up against Unicorns of Love. they recognize what comp they're dealing with, and they just have to make it work. And even though, looking at Unicorns of Love's side, I think in terms of a straight 5v5, I love that comp. That's why I'm kind of interested in what Keystone, this Skarner is going to take. Predator, there we go. Just because I don't know how Rainbow7 are going to take an outright teamfight 5v5. They need to actually get these side lanes rolling, and they've been a team that struggled on playing through side lanes throughout the tournament. So this is where it has to come down to. Rainbow7, you got to make it work.
Rainbow7 trying to run this split push composition and do so correctly. Look at the teleports on this team, 3 of them, both solo lanes as well as the AD carry using the teleport this game. If you look across the board, the same story is not told. It is only Boss with that global presence. So as this game goes forward, as we get later into the match, there's definite macro outplay potential for Rainbow7 to properly utilize those TPs and play the map. But if we're talking about this historically, Raz, when we look at how teams play, particularly from emerging regions, when they get to international competition like this, some teams, not all teams are created equal when it comes to being able to play non-team fight styles.
That's why Unicorns of Love, they were built in that. In the CIS region, it's just constant team fights. And ultimately, Unicorns of Love has been the team that stood a head and shoulders above the rest in that regard. And we got to see them when they went up against PSG, how damn good they were at that. And the compositions always made sense. I always talk about the Swain comp, but it was really well constructed. And so, I have a lot of faith in that regard. I do think Rainbow7 has, nice ward being placed there. Get that man! What the hell?
He tried. He went for the dredge line and he missed. So Rainbow7 won't be too much worse for wear there. Both supports just take about 100 damage. Oh, but he's right back in. The Aftershock setting him up, but a nice disengage from Shadow means that it's Rainbow7 who actually wins out in the bottom lane trade.
There we go. Love that Shadow went for the headbutt first. Just so there's no opportunity to trade back towards onto Leza. So we're in the pretty good lane state right now for Rainbow7's bottom lane.
Looking at both junglers, they're starting on opposite ends of the map, but they are both going for a full clear. Now, Alone is going in there to try to mess with AHaHaCiK here just a little bit, but Skarner can easily pull the chicken into the brush there. You can't see, there's some sort of spectator visual error on the Spire where it's not showing up, but Skarner is able to walk into that brush and take the chickens while still being under the effect of his Spire. Yeah. So, for those who aren't aware, Skarner's Spire gives him unlimited mana regeneration. It gives him an incredible amount of flat move speed and also a ton of attack speed. 43% attack speed at level 1 up to 120 at level 18. So the champion gets an incredible amount of steroids as long as he's present on that buff. Very important to secure those if you're trying to do any sort of counter invades or just picks in general.
That's the thing. That's another element I didn't get to talk about that I really love the Skarner pick into Evelynn is because you can actually just straight up clear for free. You're not going to be concerned about an invade. Even when Alone had a ward on top of Skarner, who are you actually going with, right?
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to be contesting Raptors on Skarner. So Skarner is going to be able to get a free level 6. And then compositionally, we already kind of harped on it, but Josedeodo is going to have real struggles in teamfights, so it should never get to that part. I will say, though, just as an asterisk, because I know there's a lot of positives with the Skarner, the negative is that there's a lot of ways to kite him out.
Oh, yeah.
There are too many ways.
Skarner versus Ezreal and Lucian is, you end up being a lobster kebab half the time. They just kite you away, shoot you full of holes. It feels really bad. But the Evelynn in melee range will be an opportunity there, particularly for AHaHaCiK in these team fights. It could be a viable option to wait for the divers to come to you.
Yeah.
Skarner is very, very effective in assassin and dive-based metas because champions that will be building for damage and getting close to you work out well. As mid lane Alone really putting the hurt onto Nomanz here. No summoner spells coming out just yet, but bottom side the 2v2 breaks out. Leza going to take some damage as Santos tries to get himself away. Stunned up now. Shadow doing a good job making sure they get a return trade. I like how aggressive both of these bot lane duos are being.
Yeah, it's really fun to usually like to watch a phase rush Alistar play the game. Because it's just an instant proc on phase rush when you go headbutt Pulverizer into E, the trample. It just procs immediately, and it's pretty much a guaranteed lockdown if you can make it happen. So it's fun to see that. The trade mid lane, I actually would have wanted to see Alone stay in the lane a little longer because I think the Cassiopeia was pretty locked. That was 2 waves actually going to be crashing into the Cassiopeia with a cannon minion, and she took an awful trade.
Yeah.
So I actually expected Alone to stay in there to punish a little bit more. But at the end of the day, I mean, he took a base, TP'd back, and she's still locked down. She needs jungle help here.
Ooh, AHaHaCiK shows up. He does manage to land the Fracture onto the Lucian, but now Evelynn has joined the fight as well. Alone down to 200 HP, but thanks to Josedeodo's presence, he won't be in any danger of actually dying. AHaHaCiK using his flash. So Skarner not having that once he hits level 6 means you don't really have the freebie kill that can exist if that summoner spell is prepared. Both junglers are level 5 right now, both of them incredibly powerful once they get that ultimate up and running. Huge game changer for both Evelynn and Skarner. AHaHaCiK without a flash though.
Yeah, here we go.
Will be walking back into his own jungle. Josedeodo finding a little bit of damage there with the charm. The follow-up won't complete as AHaHaCiK tries to head back into his jungle, but Josedeodo maintains control on the way towards the Spire and just tries to keep him away.
Cap, this is the funniest thing about this. The whole purpose of AHaHaCiK coming mid was to relieve Cassiopeia of her duties, to send her back to base. And so hovering over what at least Evelynn ended up doing was really well done to make it so she literally cannot go back to base without losing 2 sets of waves. So this is getting really annoying if you're looking at Unicorn's Love's perspective.
Unicorns of Love. Wow, Shadow took quite a lot of damage there. But it looks like they may try to set up a kill onto this Nautilus. It's a 3v1 dive. It's going to be a 4v1 dive. The teleport comes in. Santos could be in some trouble, but he's doing a good job with the CC here so far. Senna showing up, looking to keep him alive, able to provide the lockdown. Acce's there in the front. Santos going to be taken down. First blood over to the side of Rainbow7 with the 4-man play in the bottom lane.
You can just tell they were communicating that as the dive was coming through. Acce recognizing that he's not going to be punished too heavily. It's not as though he had a huge wave on towards the enemy top lane turret, so it wasn't a free play. He was going to lose something for it, but he was already in a pretty huge advantage. Take a look at the top lane CS while it was happening. 57 to 36, so he already had a huge advantage. He's willing to let the rest of the map kind of pay it forward.
And before that play, before that setup, the rest of Rainbow7 facilitating Josedeodo's position in the enemy jungle to farm up the Wolf and the Gromp camp. Josedeodo's level 6. AHaHaCiK is still only level 5 because of the fact that his stuff got stolen, and the enemy jungler got some EXP from a kill in the bottom lane too. So Evelynn having that advantage right now means a lot. Level 6 is so huge for this champion, moving around the map undetected. Being able to find the flanks that really define her play style will help him a ton.
Yeah.
AHaHaCiK still not quite at level 6, even after grabbing a camp there in the bottom lane. Should have it here after the red buff.
And Cap, all of this, if you do it, like, you know, team going to be doing a VOD review of this, of course, after the game. It all stems from the mid lane matchup. And how Rainbow7 was unrelenting in making it so Cassiopeia wasn't going to get a free base off. And they got so much for it. You know, going into the bot side camps, both the Wolves and Gromp happened because Alone is just going to be far stronger than Nomanz was, who didn't have mana to his name as well. So it just bled from mid to jungle, then to bot.
I like how Nomanz has gone for the Seeker's Arm Guard here at the beginning. Very effective itemization for any AP champion into an AD opponent, particularly one as strong in lane as Lucian is. But the nice part for Rainbow7 is their jungler isn't affected by that in the same way. Nomanz really going aggressive there, seeing if maybe he could get the Petrifying Gaze onto Alone, but Alone decides to hightail it out in time and does not fall victim to that one. Goes back in for a trade to farm up a little bit, but still loses about half his HP. Meanwhile, Rainbow7 with Josedeodo in the top lane are able to secure that Rift Herald for themselves with Camille's lane priority. You're talking about mid lane priority. Man, top lane has just been in control from start to finish. The 20 CS lead from earlier shrunk down to 15 because of the fact that Acce did roam bottom to help get that kill, but Boss is in a pretty bad spot.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in a pretty rough one. Especially since like, I actually expected him to do decently and match up and farm in the matchup. Hasn't been happening, and of course so much action has been happening through mid and bot side that we didn't get the kind of full perspective there. So he needs a little bit of help. And it sucks because AHaHaCiK came into this game expecting these lanes to be able to stand on their own so he could farm up to 6. Right, basically like free of charge, and it hasn't been the case.
No, sir. And also because he's a Predator jungler, means he needs to make sure he gets those level 1 boots nice and early, so it slightly delays his jungle item. Runic Echoes is already done for Josedeodo. AHaHaCiK still doesn't have the full Cinder Hulk completed, so it's still advantage Evelynn in terms of power on the map. AHaHaCiK will give over this blue to Nomanz here, allow the Cassio to have some extra spam power there in the mid lane, passes that one off just fine. Still no involvement from the Skarner to find a kill. Does have flash ready here in a very short amount of time. Should be about 15 seconds. That one will be back up. And flash plus ulti should be a guaranteed kill as long as no opponents have a QSS. Josedeodo in the top lane only finds damage onto the Wukong clone, but just applying pressure to Boss, who's already having a bad laning phase, can do wonders. Seeing the enemy jungler in the top side, AHaHaCiK calls the boys over, and it's going to be a 3-man Drake take here on the other end of the map. 10.5 minutes into the game isn't a super fast early Drake by any means, but it's a neutral objective secured for the Unicorns of Love. And honestly, Raz, they needed to secure something. They had already lost First Blood, they had already lost the Rift Herald, and they're down 1,500 gold.
At this point in the game, when the enemy team has Rift Herald and you don't know where she is, just kind of playing through Fog of War, you don't want to commit to a full fight or a gank. Just because you lose far more in the opposite side of the map if she is there, right? So I love the fact that when they saw Evelynn topside, they just went for Dragon, because they still had the time to kind of move top lane if they tried to press their advantage even further. But take a look at AHaHaCiK. Finds 3 members bot here.
Here we go. Predator is ready to go. Josedeodo's also here in the fight. He's going to blow up Gadget if he's not careful. Nice execution from the last caress as Santos goes too deep under the enemy turret. Now Josedeodo's trying to get himself away. AHaHaCiK coming around. They can't find anything. Big mistake. Unicorns of Love. You guys are about to be in a whole world of hurt. Nomanz going to be shot to pieces by Lucian. It's 3-0 in the bottom lane, and Rainbow7 are about to get even more. Rift Herald summoned up. They'll already have the turret down to just about 2 plates by the time she gets her charge off. This should actually be the complete first turret for the side of Rainbow7 over Unicorns of Love, and they are destroying their opponent.
That's a full level up from Rainbow7 throughout the tournament. They look so much better now. Around Josedeodo, their MVP jungler.
Yeah.
Insane. I have to correct myself, by the way. I said they thought they were going into 3 members. They didn't even see Josedeodo.
No.
They thought they had 2 members clean, and they got humongously punished. Just take a look at this. They thought it was going to be a nice roundup on towards Leza, but Josedeodo rounds up and gets the assassination on Gadget. Really well done.
That, strictly from a Skarner perspective, that was such a bad flash from AHaHaCiK. When you're up against a champion like Ezreal, you can't just go for a flash pull with Alistar right there. The kill potential it's actually 0.
Yeah.
You might as well have just never used the ultimate. The rest of the team can follow up so easily. Josedeodo, such good positioning there to get the kill onto Gadget. If you're ever trying to make a play with a Skarner onto an Ezreal, you must prime him with your E first to make sure you can stun him as soon as the ulti ends. Otherwise, he's getting away. He's Ezreal. His flash is on his E. You must be prepared to commit more than just a single ulti. And that mistake, combined with underestimating and disrespecting the Evelynn, honestly puts Unicorns of Love in the worst position we've seen them so far in this tournament.
And it's only going to get worse. Because while we did say how good this Skarner was going to be into the Evelynn, now you're going to be consistently invaded upon. The experience advantage is only going to get larger, and you don't have many options in fights.
Right. Oh, Gadget. Oh, not a chance in the world. Josedeodo on this Evelynn. Back to what I said in the draft. Evelynn's either invisible because she has no presence, or she's invisible because she's lurking on the flank, killing everybody in your team. And Josedeodo is putting on a wonderful showing of this champion here in this game.
All right, even Acce recognizing that their play was bot side, doesn't want to be too greedy top lane. So the team is playing smart. This is actually the smartest we've seen Rainbow7 play in the tournament, and this means a lot for the group implications. Because Rainbow7 were in danger of being in a tiebreaker state with an LGD or a V3, but if they show this level of strength throughout the day, that changes instantly.
LGD is currently 1-2.
Yep.
V3 is 1-2. UOL is 2-0. If Rainbow7 wins this game, we could see a massive amount of tiebreakers just across the board, my friend. It could be a real crazy show. As Boss gets away from the Evelynn. Good use of the clone there. Even though he gets marked with the charm, remember it does take a small amount of time before it becomes fully armed and she gets the hard CC. So pretty easy for Wukong to get away from that one. As Rainbow7 have 3 players in the mid lane. 14 minutes and 45 seconds in means plates are gone.
Goodbye.
Means turret is gone. Means more money in the pockets of Rainbow7 and Unicorns of Love just struggling to find a real foothold in this game at all. 8 turret plates compared to 2 really tells the story of the difference in how well the early games have gone for both of these teams so far. Honestly, just really impressed with Rainbow7 in this early game.
And they're just taking everything. Because Ocean Dragon's coming up in 30 seconds, but Rainbow7 feels so comfortable that they can take both mid turret without the jungler's hover, and he can go topside to cover for Acce. Take Rift Herald, they could even use Rift Herald mid and then take the dragon straight afterwards. Like, that's literally everything on the map, and Unicorns of Love don't have anything to facilitate like a defense.
Look at the total gold chart on the side of your screen right now. The 4th richest dude on Rainbow7 has more money than the richest dude. Okay, well, now I'm lying. They're trading back and forth a little bit. But either way, the money disparity absolutely massive. Between these two teams, 5,500 gold, 15 minutes into the game. That's a solo queue gold lead, Raz.
It's pretty wild.
that's crazy stuff going on so far here. As we have the next Drake alive. Remember, first one did go over to Unicorns of Love, but Rainbow7 seemed to not be taking any more of that. Look at the health just evaporate off of the thing, man. That Drake's going over. No contest. AHaHaCiK walks up, but honestly, the man's got no business even being there. Shadow did some goofy stuff over the wall, tried to go in, but AHaHaCiK's running himself away. Shadow coming in from the side. Hextech ultimatum down, looking to maybe lock these guys down. Alone grab the kill onto the Skarner. Now where the rest of the fight's gonna go. Boss trying to find the kill onto Alone, but now he's just gonna be spinning around. The Wukong copter not gonna find the kill. Instead, he's in some trouble on his own. Here comes Cassiopeia. Nomanz flashing over the wall. Josedeodo on a killing spree, trying to get himself away, is gonna be killed in return. Nomanz goes down. Look at that, an ace for Rainbow7.
And they could only take one member. They thought they could outplay, but they just got squashed by Rainbow7.
That's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, man. 7,000 gold lead. A team fight ace at 16 minutes. You lost Evelynn, but she died for the cause. Set her body aflame to the heartless sea and send her to Valhalla. She did her job. Let's take another look at the fight.
I just loved what I saw from Shadow and the rest of the team, honestly, because like when Alone goes in, confident that he can take down the Skarner, the rest of the team just follow. There's not a single member that, didn't get that cue. And so while it can be a little scrappy from this point, Josedeodo recognizing that the Cassio is coming into the flank and then immediately changing team aggro on towards the Cassio was really smart. Because if she's a part of the fight and isn't targeted effectively, then there's an opportunity where Unicorns of Love can turn the fight. But at this point, seems long gone.
And oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. No. If you're a Skarner player, this is worse than Freddy Krueger, Tier of Nightmare. Camille, QSS. Lucian, QSS. Ezreal, QSS. Eve, she knows this game's a jungle diff. She's not even gonna buy one. She doesn't have enough respect for this Skarner to need one. She knows that would stop her from buying her headwear. And that is just unacceptable. 3-1-5 for Josedeodo. Playing this Eve so well this game. Gonna take down yet another Scuttle Crab. The entirety of the map owned by Rainbow7, constantly posing this threat. I mean, Unicorns of Love, what are you gonna do? Any brush that you walk into could have somebody waiting. Anywhere you go that isn't control warded, Josedeodo could just be lying there ready for that flank.
And he's just scouting ahead. Yep, I found him.
He knows.
Team, I've scouted an enemy.
And we can't see the vision range, but I guarantee you he's hanging out right outside the vision range of the plant there. Boss gets away. This is such a scary situation for Unicorns of Love. The Eve is just creating an impossible play state for them. As Rift Herald summoned up in the bottom lane, it's just going to kill this turret instantly.
The funny thing about an Evelynn, I mean, you basically have already said it, which is like, they didn't even fully clear out that blue side jungle, but it doesn't matter. Like, you are pushing them so far back into their own base, just based off that pressure. The only saving grace is the turrets, the tier 2 turrets here. So they need to find a way to at least push them back. What they were doing initially was a good idea, which is just literally stacking in a bush and hoping that someone walks in, but the Scryer's Bloom was picked out and just saw them completely. And it's good that Rainbow7, when they're moving as a squad for these objectives.
Here we go. AHaHaCiK tries to move in and contest the red buff, but now he's going to just get shot down by the culling. The bullets over the wall just do it all. Alone picks up the kill. Alone takes the red buff. Did everything but give him the thumbs up emoji as Acce tries to just pass through the mid lane here. Look at that.
Look at the beautiful blue mountains of Goldgraphia on the bottom side of your screen. Rainbow7 in charge from start to finish. You can see that big jump there right around the 11-12 minute mark, and it hasn't stopped maintaining that momentum since. Rainbow7 going after the Baron here. 4 players alive on the enemy team. No jungler around. Damage coming through. Senna ulti shows up. Nice engage by Alistar onto 3. The call is made. Secure the Baron. Now is the team fight going to happen? Yes, it is. Acce into the back line. Looking for Nomanz. Boss spinning around. Able to find a kill into Acce. Boss wants to get himself away. Able to find the second knock-up now into Josedeodo, who gets a kill into Santis. Rainbow7, they lose their top laner, but they trade him away for a kill onto the enemy support. 1 for 1, and you take the Baron at 20 minutes. Raz, I will take that trade any day of the week.
Only thing you can get here, no, they can't even. I was about to say Dragon, but it's 20 seconds. That's easily contestable. So Unicorns of Love recognize that. They're going to get them on transition.
Oh, this is so cheeky. Nobody would expect them to be waiting here in this brush right beside the base.
All right, guys.
Oh.
We didn't need him anyways. We don't want the Alistar.
We don't want that guy. We want this guy that's worth more. Okay, he's looking for the Ezreal. There you go. Nice follow-up. They're able to put the ground on the ground. It's miasma on the ground. It's not the ground on the ground. It's the ground in effect on the ground. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but UOL has at least found themselves a kill. They're looking for maybe more, but now they're all trapped behind enemy lines. I don't think anybody's coming to save them. Shadow goes over the wall. They find the kill onto the Skarner. They find the kill onto everybody now as Nomanz tries to get away, but Acce needs a little bit of revenge. Flashing out. Boss joins the other solo laner of the Unicorns of Love, alone, kiting back, keeping himself alive. Shadow shows up, throws him underneath the turret. They went all the way back there. They stuck around, they set the trap, they killed the Ezreal, and the Unicorns of Love lose 4 men for it. Everything they're doing this game is falling apart.
It's sad. And honestly, Unicorns of Love, they knew it wasn't going to be pretty if they were going to win this one. So sitting in that bush, good idea. The problem is, it's Season 10, and there's Fire Blooms everywhere.
Oh, no. Nautilus, you just had a gameplay experience, brother. That's a Fed Eve. there's nothing else I can say about that. That was a gameplay experience. Let's take another look at what happened to Leza here. Now, this is very important. This is what you do with Skarner. You make sure you prime with the E. That way, as soon as they cleanse the ulti, you can immediately re-stun. The grounded effect, not the ground effect. Everybody makes mistakes sometimes. Then locks him in place and he can't get away. But afterwards, this kind of just looks like a party pack. Raz, they just get a whole bunch for not a whole lot. Josedeodo going on a killing spree, taking down a AHaHaCiK here yet again. 0, 4, and 1. The Skarner so far behind the curve this game. Everybody having QSS, he just has no relevance.
This game is getting a little wild, and for Unicorns of Love, as I said, it kind of has to be. It looks bad, but at this point, they have to try a Hail Mary to get something back. And the fact that it's a Cloud Soul means that, or at least like, you know, potentially a Cloud Soul that they're playing for, they can't even use Drake as a win condition. So try any way you can to get a pick, and it has to be on Skarner. So find that next bush. That's literally what it's all about at this point. And I thought that was a really creative play because they knew that Rainbow7 was on a late base if they wanted to contest for next Dragon. So things like that is what you have to do if you're UOL. It's just way too far behind. And at this point, we were talking about how gassed up Josedeodo is. She has the Holy Book, 23 stacks.
Oh, man. 2 pages left before he gets to the other cover. Josedeodo so strong on this Evelynn. If he finds anybody, he'll just blow him up. AHaHaCiK clearing out some krugs. Oh, no.
I found another enemy.
Oh, no, Mr. Scorpion. You are about to get got, my friend. He goes after the pole, but there's your last caress. See you on the other side, man. There is no way out of that. That is an Evelynn with a death cap. 25 stacks on the Magi's now. The Runic echoes. Shadow might be in a bad spot. Petrifying Gaze coming out. There's the follow-up CC from Nautilus. They should be able to lock down this kill onto the enemy support, but Shadow, he's actually getting away. Good Lord, man. The Alistar just said nope. He walked out to the right.
He was cosplaying Usain Bolt on that one.
He just walked away. He said, no thank you, sir. Maybe next time. And left. And now, Acce's setting up shop in the bottom lane. The tier 3 turret is under pressure. There was 2 minion waves colliding with it. He sees the chance to find a little bit of damage and walk away. And the rest of the team, they're still hanging out up here next to the tier 2 in the top lane. Should be able to secure this one pretty easy. Alone is there. He has Leza and Shadow shadowing him. Easy turret.
And this is all the things that we can see. I think a lot of people would be focusing too much on why aren't UOL there to defend it. It's not simply about the pressure that Rainbow7 are pelting topside. It's the Camille. Camille has a huge threat bot side of the map. The entire game, she's been dominating boss in the matchup.
Yeah.
So it isn't pretty. It isn't pretty at all. And Rainbow7 can continue to split them. Should never have to fight them. Every time the Evelynn ultimate is up, she's just going to use it on anybody. There's no real frontline that can take it.
And you mentioned earlier how this game is such a level up for Rainbow7 over the course of the play that we've seen from them so far at this tournament. And I really want to go back to that because they're 1-2. Both of their losses were bad. Their one win was a comeback, and now they are just absolutely thrashing the Unicorns of Love. Boss going back in onto Josedeodo nearly gets himself killed, but now the last caress is gone. That's a shutdown. Josedeodo making his first big misplay of the game, giving that money over, and with him off the board, that's going to be Rainbow7 at least having to ease off that pressure for 45 seconds or so.
Yeah, we finally got him. Finally.
It took a lot.
It took a lot, and it also required Josedeodo to lose a few cells, brain cells, before they could finally pick up the Evelynn.
He was just feeling it, man. He was limit testing. Don't worry about it.
Baron is up now.
Baron's
That's
up.
16 seconds on Josedeodo for his mistake.
You got to go for it. You were talking earlier about how you have to go for these Hail Marys. Well, tell your receivers to all go deep. It's a Baron or bust for the Unicorns of Love. Rainbow7 moving in, looking to stop him. Boss has no ulti, keep it in mind. Shadow's able to find the 3-man knockup. Rainbow7 going in, looking for the engage, looking for the kills, looking for the team fight, able to find one on DeSantis. A AHaHaCiK going in, a AHaHaCiK going out. No way to close the distance on that one. The Unicorns of Love, baby! Unicorns might be real, but they're an endangered species! Double kill for the Lucian, and teleports are coming in to cut off the escape for Nomanz. It's No Man's Land indeed, and No Man's Land is right back at the spawn platform now. Ace for Rainbow7!
They have a huge top lane wave tier 2. They can just end the game off this one. Rainbow7, you heard it in the interview, it felt like it was going to be impossible for the team with how they played this tournament out, that they could take down Unicorns of Love, who were undefeated. But man, they look strong right now.
The best game of play-in so far by Rainbow7, Josedeodo, summing up the entire game with one kill at the very end. Rainbow7 take down Unicorns of Love, and damn do they look good doing it.
2-2 now, and we have a surprisingly long day ahead. It may just be 2 games,
Oh, yeah.
But then you talk about the tiebreakers that feel it's going to happen, right?
Oh yeah, the stage is set, man. What? I am so impressed with Rainbow7. I've got to sing their praises more. This is the team. I was worried for this team coming into today.
Yeah.
Like I said, their 2 losses did not look like good losses. They did not look like redeemable losses. The win was one they had to work really hard for and also depended upon some pretty big mistakes from their opponent. And then to come into today, the last day of group play for this group, and just smack Unicorns of Love in the mouth like that. Absolutely incredible from Rainbow7. I think this looks so good for this team as this day